Well, welcome to the next edition of, episode 2, round 2 of the Book of HERBrews, as we talk and kind of just relate life on this journey. I like throwing a little puns in there. It just makes it fun. So welcome to round 2.
Yeah, round 2. It's been a whole week since our last one.
It has.
And it's been great. I mean, we've gotten pretty good responses.
We have. I would love to see
Facebook.
comments, either through YouTube or Facebook. Give us some topics. We would love to be able
see
to
if there
bring.
is any on there.
Yeah.
I did ask for some on Facebook.
Did you ask for some? Look that up real quick.
After our last week's video, I put like a thing. I don't know if anyone actually.
I know we had
posted
several.
topics.
You know, we're getting good viewership, which is exciting. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it that you take your time to go on this journey with us of randomness. But truly, hopefully, our heart behind this is that you do get some fun stuff out of this, but also some life lessons and tools to grow in.
Exactly. I have now. I think found the video, but I don't know.
Found the video. I don't know if we have any comments, but I would love if you're watching this next week. We would love to hear some of the topics you would love for us to talk on. It can be you can give us any topic. It doesn't mean we're gonna pick it. It just you can give us any topic. We'll talk about it, possibly, and no promises. But as long as it's something that we think that our viewers would like to hear. I'm sad that we have to say this. Like, please keep them appropriate.
Yeah, but like,
and people nowadays,
anymore.
man, some people's kids.
Yeah, for real,
just crazy. And
so we have no comments on Facebook for the record.
No
the
worries.
record show.
No worries.
But I'm checking YouTube still.
Checking YouTube.
Giving it a shot.
As I look at this past week, Journey, as we celebrated our two-year anniversary as Journey Church, what a fun time.
That was actually a blast.
Man, if you missed that, I will say you missed some good food. Tomato Street did an amazing job.
Yes, they are fantastic.
It was something that had marinara sauce and fettuccine sauce with chicken and stuff. Mascatoli?
That chicken mascatoli.
Oh, my Lord.
It was so good.
I'd eat that out of a shoe. Like that.
Okay, I don't know about a shoe.
I would eat it out of a shoe. I would do a shoey with that. It was phenomenal. I would straight up eat that out of a shoe. So good. And just the games that we played Kahoot.
Yeah, so we played Kahoot, so that's like the one on your phone, and we did like some fun trivia. We did some really random ones.
Very random. I'm normally really good at trivia, and I got smoked.
Yes.
So I was really disappointed.
Someone did get 10 out of 10 though.
They had to have cheated.
I don't know.
I don't think you can cheat in Kahoot. But
I don't think.
I think they were randomly just got lucky pushing the buttons. And
maybe on a few of them, but they did well.
No, it was a great time of celebration, and with how everything's going kind of right now, it's been few and far and in between in society. I'm not talking about church. I'm talking society, about being able to find wins. I think that we're missing that, and something that I do, with my students every day is we talk about wins, and even with the team, this, we do wins, and I tell people that I want to get them out of the lens of looking at everything negatively and focus on what God's doing. And, when he says he's going to work all things together for good, when we look at the scriptures that we're more than conquerors, when we look at the scripture of, of how faithful God is why aren't we celebrating the positive things?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positive things going on out there.
Yeah, but we blow past it because we love focusing on the negative. Let me give you Book of HERBrews number 1. I guess this would be number 2 since episode 2, but we won't keep record of what actual number we're on. But this has got to be
make up a number.
Yeah, Book of HERBrews chapter 6 verses 13 says this: "He who watches news knows poor attitude." So that's a good Book of HERBrews.
That's probably pretty true. Anymore with the news, especially, with everything that's going on, it's just all negative. I don't know if I've seen a positive story on the news.
Not in a long time.
Yeah.
Used to be you watch the news to saw this quote on Facebook that you used to watch the news to find out what's going on. Now you watch the news to know they're going to tell you how you feel about what's going on. It's like that's not the role of it. So I think we need to bring the attitude back around, and we even kind of hit on this last week of honor, and I don't know. I've been stuck on that word for a long time, of honor. I remember growing up in Montesano Assembly of God. Okay, little small church. I should take that back. It was not a little small church. It was a very vibrant church. Loved growing up at that church. Had some of my greatest memories of church ever there. But very traditional church. But growing up in my day, it was brother so and so, sister so and so, It didn't matter who they were. This was Brother Jesse Lohman. He's a guy I use a lot because he just stands out in my mind. He was such an amazing man of God. So Brother Jesse, but then when you talk to pastors, you never ever called them by their first name.
Yeah.
That was almost a sacrilegious thing. Where now I know we like to get in. Well, we just need to be laid back and just let people. Well, I think we're missing that. In my opinion, I think we're missing that. Where, and for me, it's not a big deal. Like I get it. Like you want to call me Brian outside the church, great, call me Brian. But to me, I think we're missing that honor. I would have never called my pastors by their first name. I remember my first pastor I ever had was a man who was just I was so young, but the legacy that he left was incredible. His name was Pastor Hansen. And man, he even in our Northwest network, that guy still holds legacy of the amazing things he did in ministry. But I would have, I know his first name. I would have never called him by it. Even as a kid, but even now I'm like, no, that was Pastor Hansen, and then followed him was Pastor Shover, and so those were my pastors growing up, and I could have never ever thought of calling them anything different. And nowadays where we've brought up generations that we don't honor, and I'm not just talking about pastors. I think this goes around in society today. I mean, growing up for me, it was, there were certain people that it was Mr. and Mrs. or, Miss, and now it's like, oh, it's just, that's just Bill. Well, no, Bill is, that's, we'll go churchy. That's Brother Jones, that's Brother Bill Jones, Brother Jones. And it's not that you're trying to, and I guess it might be the Southern coming out of me, living down in Texas. I shout out to my boy, Micah Brown. I got down to Texas, and so Micah's dad. Micah's one of my best friends. I love him to death, man. We're ride or die boys, and many times riding with him, I thought I would die. We'll see if he watches this.
Yeah.
But his dad, I remember being in Midland, Texas, at Harvest Time Church, and one day Larry Brown, and everybody else, his brother Brown. He actually had a brother named Charlie Brown.
I'm sure that went well for him.
Just saying, but I loved and love the Brown family, and still to this day they're some of the most. And I will say Larry is I don't know if he actually knows this. Larry's probably one of the most influential people that I ever had at that time in my life. He would. There was one day he came up to me, he says, "We're going to go out to eat. Do you want to come?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yes, sir." It's like, "You're welcome." I thought he was talking to me. I grew up in Washington. Sir wasn't a thing, Sir was something you said in the military, and I wasn't in the military. He says, "It's yes, sir." I said, "Uh-huh." He goes, "Yes, sir." "Yes, sir." He goes, "I'm going to teach you some manners, boy." And I thought right there I was going to get a good old-fashioned Southern beatdown. But what he was doing is I'd always, and it wasn't a disrespect thing from me. It was a thing that I hadn't grown up, and I had respect for Larry. I treated him great. Yes, thank you, please, all those things. And my parents raised me amazingly to have respect for people. But that yes ma'am, yes sir thing that's really down especially at that time, it was a Southern thing to me that I wasn't accustomed to. But what it did is it brought instant respect and honor to whoever you were talking with, and so I've actually been instilling that into my kids as well, and they're not great at it, but we're working on them, But Larry taught me the importance of giving that respect and honor to whoever you talk with. It just gives that little flair of, listen, I respect you. And so, I don't know, I think we need to go back to that. I know that's kind of a different topic, but it's really been weighing on me lately.
Yeah. I never really got that, the brother and sister thing in church growing up, like that.
Well, that was that's an old tradition.
Yeah, that was it passed.
Yeah,
by the time I got to church.
That tradition was gone before you. I think you would have even realized.
Probably.
And I'm not saying we got to go back to brother sister.
No. But
but I think that what I really want to focus on is like, I wouldn't ever call my doctor by his first name.
No.
I had a doctor growing up, Dr. Steinweg.
Mm-hmm.
His first name was Edward.
Mm-hmm.
Ed, Eddie, whatever. I'd never call him Ed or Edward or Eddie.
No.
He was Dr. Steinweg, and one of the greatest pediatricians to have ever worked in the medicine field. In my opinion, he was phenomenal. Love that guy. But he went to school for a long time to get his medical degree and to get that little title in front of his name. And,
Exactly.
now, I'm not trying to make this a prestigious thing, but I think that the honoring thing comes into effect where, there's pastors, well, they didn't go to school for, that long a time. Yeah, but they've been called. And I think a calling comes when the Lord anoints you. And when you get that anointing and you get that in front of your name, to me, I'll tell you what, I take that title very seriously. It's a title that I don't take lightly of, I'm a pastor. No, it's something that, man, I'll tell you, it's a heavy title because God's entrusting you with his people. And so I'm not comparing myself to a doctor by no means, because trust me, man, doctors go through a huge amount of schooling. Yes, I did schooling. Yes, I did all that stuff. And as you, I did not go through medical school.
That is
completely
different.
So don't misquote this. I'm not comparing myself to a doctor. I'm saying, in the same sense, though, there's a thing that when it's not about the title, but I think that what we need to do is learn how to bring honor back to things. And people will, pastors have failed. Dude, listen, you're looking at the wrong thing. I think we need to go back into raising people to be a culture of honor and see what God does when people do that, because God will bless honor.
Yeah.
And so that's, I don't know. So, yeah. Starting out heavy this morning.
I guess
so.
I
needed more coffee.
Yeah. No, I do remember, calling my pastor by his last name. I never called him by his first name.
Right.
It was Pastor Beal. It wasn't,
I don't mind being called my first name. I will say that. No. Pastor Brian. I would never, I don't know if I'd answer Pastor Herrick. I just think that would be weird for me.
I don't think if anyone ever put Pastor D. Hart together, I don't think I could do it. I think I wouldn't respond to that. I would, for me, I guess I work with youth.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit different, but, yeah, pretty much I'll respond to just about anything. If they said Pastor D. Hart, though, I might not respond to that.
Because you wouldn't know.
Because I'd be like, what?
When did my dad get into ministry?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be right. I mean, even Mr. D. Hart, I don't.
Yeah, I don't see at the school, teaching. I told him, I said, I can't be called Mr. To me, that's just, I've never been that.
Yeah.
Not that
it feels like you're
wrong.
talking about my dad.
That's
not me.
Mr. Herrick.
But
am I in trouble?
Yeah, right.
Am I standing in front of a judge? That's what I think. I think I'd be standing in front of a courtroom. Excuse me, Mr. Herrick. I'm sorry, Judge.
Yeah, exactly.
Your Honor, I apologize. And so, to me, for teachers, I look at that. They got, and I joke. I'm not joking when I say this. They went to school to become teachers, so they get the Mr. or Mrs. or Miss in front of their name, and I think that's an important thing. Mr. So-and-so. I don't have that ability. I didn't go to school to be a teacher. I'm blessed to have that opportunity to be able to pour into students' lives again. But one of the things that I did, I said, listen, I'm not a teacher, but I am a pastor. And so you can call me Pastor Brian. You can call me P. Brian. You can call me PB. I don't care.
Yeah.
And so we go with that. And it's been really cool. And you can see that in the students. And we've even talked about honor with my students, that it's been a great opportunity to be able to pour into them that way. So, yeah. As we look at this week in the Book of HERBrews, I think we need to give some more definition of what that truly means. It is a throwback to my dad, who he actually watched the episode last week, and he says, "You said it wrong." And I said, "What do you mean I said it wrong?" He says, "You said all the meat on a pig," or you asked the question, and you made it a statement. It wasn't a question. That's what he said. I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "The question is all the meat on a pig pork?" I was like, what do you mean? It still, to this day, just throws me for a loop.
So it's a question. It's not a
statement. I guess. I don't know. Do you see what I grew up with? The type of, I just.
The kind of statement that you'll never understand.
No. Yeah. I learned a lot of valuable lessons from my dad. I still don't know the answer to that one. That's life's one of life's many mysteries. But my dad, he used to, whenever it would be something that he thought was funny, he'd say it was from the Book of HERBrews.
There you go.
So to me, this is a thing that we can. The whole time of this, podcast, whatever, is for us to be able to just kind of share our hearts and do that. But it's also a throwback and giving some fun to my dad, and it's a reminder for me to never forget where you come from.
Exactly.
And the heritage of what that brings. And so that's the throwback on that. But like I said, I mean, we can use that in many lessons. I mean, I remember one time I learned a valuable lesson that do you know what a monkey tree is?
No.
Okay, monkey tree is these trees, and they got these branches that come down almost like monkey arms. Okay. But on the arms, they got these really sharp, like thick. They're not needles and they're not leaves, but they're just spikes, and they're the spikes of death on a monkey tree. Okay. Right. Anybody who knows a monkey tree knows you don't grab them. But if you're getting into a fight with one of your neighbor kids and you pick one of the branches up on the end and swing it and hit them with it, that it's a good, you win. I mean, the fight's over.
Yeah.
I've never done that, but I'm just saying that would be.
But you could.
You could.
That's all I'm saying.
And it would.
And it would work.
It would work. Well, I learned a valuable lesson from my dad that in life's kind of like a monkey tree, and every now and then you got to get out of the way of the branch. I was right. When my dad would mow our lawn, we had a riding lawnmower. Mm-hmm. And I would stand on the back on this, in between the trailer and the rider. I'd stand behind my dad for a time and just hang out with my dad. I was a real young kid. Typically, I would duck when I saw the monkey tree coming. We had a monkey tree by our yard, neighbor's yard and stuff. And I would duck. One time I didn't. And that thing caught me. It threw me off the back of that tractor and threw me onto the ground. And like, the mower's in front, so let me clear everything up.
You're going to get mowed.
Yeah, I'm not going to get ran over by a lawnmower, but I found the trailer, and I think that's life. I think that's life. Is sometimes you don't get out of the way of the monkey branch, and you think that you're safe after you hit the ground, but nope, that trailer's coming for you. So the Book of HERBrews says, if you get knocked down, roll out of the way because there might be something coming.
Exactly.
So yeah, but tell me a little bit. You've been starting youth ministry. This is your first year of youth ministry.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing.
Exactly. And, I had ample time in youth ministry as a youth pastor. And so I want to ask you a couple questions. Because here's the thing, is no youth pastor has ever been in this position. There's no youth pastor who has ever pastored in a quarantine before. So I can't imagine that any of them feel confident. But as a youth pastor, if you were to give a youth pastor in their first year of youth ministry any advice, if you could write yourself a note 6 months ago and send it back to you, what would you have said?
Probably would have wrote myself stop sweating the little things, because it's a lot of those little things, especially for me. I was sweating, how am I going to get people in the door? Well, really, I can think about that all I want. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's it's going to be God that brings them in the door. So I just need to create a space where when they come in, they want to come back. Yeah. And so that's something we've actually been focusing on recently, and we've seen those results.
Yeah. When kids come in, and you've seen great things. Yeah. Shout out to Soldier and Youth. Seeing new kids coming in, and you've created a safe environment, a healthy environment. So I mean, of course you got the mask, social distancing, and the wipe downs and all that stuff. So you're following protocol. But same sense. I mean, with all the negative of that garbage, because to be honest, I think that's a bunch of junk.
There's so much positive,
but there's so much positive. I mean, you got a laser tag, you got an incredible game room, you got whole concession stand set up. If you don't have a youth home and you need one, Soldier and Youth meets at Tuesday nights at 6.
We open the doors at 6.
Yeah, at 6, and service starts at 6:30. Correct?
Yep. So
so great things happening there. I think if I was to write myself a note and send it back to before COVID hit, I would have said, hang on tight, and my dear self, hang on tight, the road's going to get bumpy.
There's been a lot of highs and lows.
Yeah, and that's the thing about bumps is you hit the bump and you get that little bit of air, but you're going to come down too. And You get the discouragement, you get the frustration, and all those things that have been in the middle of COVID. You know, I don't know about you. I've had nights where I just lay in bed and literally want to cry and just, God, what is all this for? And, you know, people are like, you know, I've had people, I mean, we see it all the time, and people have said it, you know, you got some people in a church who, you know, you open too quick, and other people, you didn't open soon enough, we should have never closed. Well, yeah, listen, man, I've never done this before. And, what I know is this, is my job and your job, we're to be, when Jesus was on the cross, he was in the middle.
Yeah.
And I think that for us, our stance here at Journey has been in the middle of, you know, we're trying to err on the side of caution, but we're also trying to be proactive in leading forward. Yeah. And man, it's a balancing act, and it's just been exhausting. To tell you the truth, from my standpoint, it's exhausting. Oh, yeah. You know, that's why I asked that question. What would you say to yourself pre-pandemic? What would you have said? Yeah. You know, I would have said, hold on. But the other thing comes to mind is, you know, in Psalms it talks about, you know, to magnify the Lord and, you know, to exalt his name forever. And can you do that in the middle of a pandemic when you're frustrated and exhausted and scared and you feel hopeless and feel like you don't know which way to turn? There's a song, I listen to it at least once a week. It's by the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. I know choir music's just so hip today. But the song's called Psalm 34, and it talks just about that. And every time I listen to it, it reminds me, yeah, you can do all those things. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, definitely one of the things I wish I would have had the perspective going into COVID with was not just, okay, we just got to wait this out.
Right.
I think everyone's perspective when this first hit was, okay, well, we just got to push this off for like a few months and like we'll get back to normal. And now we're looking at like what, 9 months in or something like that?
March, we're in October, at least
7 months in, and I mean, there's not a necessarily
end in sight.
Yeah. So we're looking at, I mean, we're probably at least 9 months to a year.
Yeah, so you know I'm a Disney freak. I love Disney. We planned on going to Disney, all this stuff. Dude, I read, because, I mean, they have Disney World open down in Florida. That I guess the California governor has flat out denied Disneyland from reopening as of right now. And so, I mean, you got that. You got other places that are just locking things down. But I look around and there's other states that are opening back up completely. You know, no masks, nothing. And, well, there's COVID things. And I'm just like, man, I don't know. For me, I don't know. You know, the question is, have you even known anybody who's gotten COVID? I do. I know people who've gotten COVID, and I'm not making light of it. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not saying it's not horrible and that people haven't died from it. But I don't know. And that's the hard part, is I guess we're in a thing where we just don't know.
Yeah.
The outcome, or when it's going to be, or what's going to happen, or what's the new norm. I'm sick of that term, dude. I don't want a new norm. I don't want the old norm. I just want to be able to move forward.
Exactly. And it feels like there's only so much, especially in the church world. Oh man. Where you can do to move forward. And so now it's figuring out what are those little steps, what are those little things.
I mean, the church, especially here in Washington, we've had so many literally been handcuffed.
Yeah.
You know, where other organizations have had the freedom to do whatever they want, and we take a blunt end of it, and you know that's been frustrating, especially as a pastor. And you know, you got people who want to tell us how to do our job. You know, you should just. It's like, dude, you don't understand. Like, if I could just do that and feel confident about it and know, then I'd do it in a heartbeat. But one, going back to honor, it's dishonoring. Two, there's so many liabilities that come with it because it's a legalistic thing. Exactly. It's not just to do this and you're fine. And if you get in trouble, they're just gonna come at you and be like, that wasn't very nice. No. You're gonna lose everything. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, the church will close its doors if you go against some of these policies, which I'm not willing to risk. You know, and people, why don't you do this? Because I'm not willing to risk what we have and what we've built here at Journey Church for an insignificant thing that we can just let's wait and pray. And so,
yeah, it feels like a lot of time we get asked to like basically bet the farm on something.
Yeah, and it's
like,
dude, my grandpa said Book of HERBrews, here Book of HERBrews 4 verse 2 says you only bet on a sure thing.
Exactly. And there's no way.
What's a sure thing? Death and taxes. Especially in Washington, taxes are a for sure thing.
Yes.
But I know I'm gonna die someday unless God comes in the rapture. Which, if you come to Journey Church, we're talking about the rapture this week. Don't miss it. But my grandpa, it's a funny story. So my grandpa, he was a Herb too.
Okay.
So his Herbert Leroy Herrick Sr. And so my grandpa. My bachelor party, I know I'm a pastor, but I had a bachelor party. No, I didn't go out to no clubs or anything. My buddy threw a bachelor party for me at his house. And so we went, and I had a bunch of my cousins. Several of my cousins were there, family, friends, all that stuff. My grandpa came, which was awesome, because one of my prayers was I wanted my grandpa to see me get married.
Yeah.
And so my grandpa's there, and we're going to play Texas Hold'em. Everybody put money in the pot. I think it was like a $20 buy-in. So there was a good pot, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not promoting gambling, I know, but I was young and dumb. Okay, let's just leave it at that. There was money in a thing, and what my understanding was like, dude, I'm getting married. They're gonna let me win.
Nope.
So we start playing, and I'm doing good, man. I'm actually playing really good hands, and playing smart, and all this stuff. And my grandpa, this time he's older, and I'm thinking, what this old dude, he can't hang. With us young bucks who we know how to play Texas Hold'em. And so we're playing and getting in. There's like 3 of us left, and it was me, my grandpa, and my buddy Brooksy, and we're playing. And my grandpa, I mean, he's like slow playing us, but I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to me and my grandpa. I'm like, all right, I don't know how this old man made it this far.
Yes.
Man, it must just be luck. But I'm going to take him to school now and show him how to really play. Dude, I was broke. That dude owned me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would try to bluff, and he would slow play it, and then just I was like, I thought I was going to get the money.
Yeah.
And that's where he taught me a lesson. Well, you only bet on a sure thing.
It's true.
And I was like, man, Papa, do I get that money? He was like, nope. So my papa was cool, man. But yeah, he took all our money that night.
There you go. He went home. Happy camper.
He did. He went and bought Grams a steak and lobster dinner
there
or
you
something.
Go.
I don't know. I got my wife blowing up my phone. Let's see what she had to say. Give a talk. Nope, she just said picked up Brody. Good thing. So yeah, and so lot of life lessons, and exactly, I'm not willing to bet the farm on an unsure thing, especially when it comes to the future Journey Church.
There's not a lot that I think as a church you should be willing to bet the farm on, like bet the church on.
I'd bet the farm on the salvation of Jesus Christ,
yes,
and that
and
he's
that's
coming
about
back.
it.
That's about it. Other than that, man, it's a strange thing, especially in the day and age we live in today. And so, but I think for today, let's wrap it back up, and I'll throw a couple things out to you. One, give us some topics that you would love for us to discuss. It can be anything, Disneyland. Try to stay with politics. I know we've hit politics several times, and we've talked about COVID, but give us some topics. We want to have fun with this, and so shoot us some things. It can be sports. It can be anything. It can be questions for us.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to answer any question. No questions off limits as long as it's appropriate.
Okay.
For me, I mean,
sure.
Anybody wants to ask questions, go for it. I got no shame, man.
Yeah.
So with that,
wait, one question before we go.
Yeah, go for it.
Have you been watching the Yankees series right now?
I don't want to talk to you. I'll reiterate what Alex Rodriguez said on baseball on one of the baseball things is the front office needs to stay out of baseball and just let the boys play, because if you let the Yankees play the type of ball that they can play, and you look at that game 1 where they allowed their pitchers to do what they can do, you let the hitters do what they can do, and you keep the suits out of the game, no one beats the Yankees. But if you try to do whatever they're doing, which was just stupid, they're going to get dinged left and right like they did last night. And I mean, 8-4, wasn't it? 8-4. So hopefully, and you know, Alex Rodriguez, which love or hate him, and I love or hate Alex Rodriguez. I won't say my opinion. Love or hate Alex Rodriguez. I'll say this. He had a great quote. The more the managers stay out of the game and just let the players play, the better.
I agree with that for the most part.
But the minute that a front office steps in, the game's over.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and I think lately it's been Brian Cashman and people stepping into the game to try to dictate how the game should be played. And that's not, dude, let the ball players play. They're good.
Yeah.
And they got a great team. I would love to see, and I think I'd be a little torn. I would love to see a New York Yankee, Florida Marlin World Series.
That'd be a match.
Do you know why? My favorite baseball player is Derek Jeter. Okay. Do you know who owns the Florida Marlins? Derek Jeter. He did, and so I would love to see that. I don't know who I cheer for. I mean, I'm a diehard Yankee fan, but I'm also a diehard Derek Jeter fan. So my loyalty would be in.
That'd be hard.
It would be hard.
I think I'd root for the Marlins only because.
You hate the Yankees.
Well, no, I'm not even like a huge hating.
Okay.
I hate the Yankees.
Okay.
They're just not my team.
They're definitely not the Astros again. I'll throw shade at the Astros all day.
I don't necessarily hate the Yankees.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily the Yankees are the best. But
No, they are 27 champions. 27 championships, soon to be 28. I'm just throwing that out there.
But I would like to see the Marlins win one, especially for Derek Jeter.
I
From a
don't-
losing ball. They're a losing ball club. They've been a losing ball club. Give them a little taste of winning, and then they can never win again. Okay.
I believe the Marlins have won a World Series.
I think they have, but not with
Do you know
Derek
who
Jeter.
they beat? New York Yankees.
Okay, well then, there goes my.
I'm fairly
my
certain.
statement.
So I'm a little bitter towards the Marlins. I'm not certain if they won the World Series. I think they did, and it was very early in their
their life.
Yeah, in the life of the team, because the Marlins and the Rays all came in at the same time, and so and then of course Seahawks take on the Minnesota Vikings this year, or not this year. Well, they definitely play this year.
Yes, at some point.
This week in Seattle. So hopefully Russ does some cooking. I guess that's the new phrase.
He's been doing well from what I understand.
Dude, to me he's MVP. You know, him or
interesting year.
Or Mahomes. I love Patrick Mahomes.
Love
Patrick Mahomes.
He's a good guy, and
he's a Texas Tech boy, so he's a Lubbock guy from Tech, and so
he's just insanely good.
I can't help but root for him, and so I'm a closet Chiefs fan.
There you go.
I love the Chiefs, and so I like the Seahawks. Man, I love Patrick Mahomes. I love that dude, and watching him play is exciting. It's weird. I'm a closet KC fan. I openly cheer for the Seahawks. I don't know if I've ever told anybody this. I am definitely a closet Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
What?
Yeah.
Steelers.
I love the Steelers.
Why?
I know, right?
I don't know a lot of people that like the Steelers.
I do, especially
You do?
what I've seen lately. Their coach is an incredible man of God from everything I've seen and stuff that he's posted, and including Ben Roethlisberger has given his heart to the Lord.
Oh, yes.
And there's many other players on that team who have been diehard, sold out for Christ. And so the more I see of that, I'm like, dude, I like the Steelers, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I like what they're saying. One of the things that their coach said, Mike Tomlin, and he was talking about when everybody was kneeling, he says, listen, I'll kneel before the Lord. And he goes, for us, what I would love us to do is unite. And he goes, we'll take a knee as a team. And there was actually a video of this. They took a knee as a team. And instantly you hear that word, take a knee. And it can spark controversy because of what it has turned into, all that the racial injustice and stuff like that, which is horrible. But I think it blew up so out of proportion with everything. But one of the things I've watched Mike Tomlin do, we're going to take a knee, and they kneeled down and they prayed, and they prayed over everything and prayed over the circumstances rather than just sitting there, we're going to take a knee in silence. No, they took a knee and prayed. And dude, you want to take a knee that way, bro?
I'm fine with that.
Do it.
Yeah,
this is what that country needs. And so, yeah, I'm a Steeler fan. And
well, I might be able to get behind that then.
First time I've said it publicly.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be for internet for all to see. or hear and see. So awesome. Well, with that, join us next week as we bring back Book of HERBrews, and we love you. We're praying for you, and send us out your questions or comments, and we would love for you to share this because we want to build an audience. We want to share our hearts, and the more you share and the more topics you give us, man, the further we'll go. No, nothing's off topic. So have a great week.